Hello and welcome back to another edition of Let's Talk Ghosts. Today we are talking about a new, I don't know if it's a mini series. Quit that.
That's Pickles. I can't stop him.
Okay. So, folks, if you hear a little bit of noise and stuff, you can't blame us. It's the dogs. Bruce will never take ownership of that. It'll always be the dogs.
Well, it's true. It's the
Yeah.
dogs.
Okay. Anyway, today we are talking about one of Jack Osborne's. I'm going to call it a mini series for now. The season has only 5 episodes, unlike the Buried Bloodlines, which only has 2. So this is Jack Osborne's Night of Terror, and it is the first episode called The Glen Tavern Inn. And in my opinion, it is the best episode of all of them. But
Yes.
that's just my opinion. Anyway, this one is at a tavern that was built in 1911 in Santa Paula, California. And he takes his mother, Sharon, with him this time. She says when he asks if she is a believer of ghosts, she says she does and she doesn't believe because she's never really seen one. So she's kind of on the fence either way. She could be pushed either way. And I think she's going to be pushed real good in this episode. Anyway,
Yes.
since purchasing the recent owners, I'm not even sure how long. I think they said 2011 was when they purchased it.
Yeah, something like that.
She said that sometimes people check in to check out because he'd asked her, had they had any deaths there? So apparently that's a yes. They've had some deaths there just in their tenure. Previously, during Prohibition, the 3rd floor, there's 3 floors to this place. The 3rd floor was a brothel. And one of the rooms, they know that a prostitute was murdered, and it was pretty brutal. She was beheaded bad. So we do know that that one happened during Prohibition. There's other thoughts of ghosts and spirits, etc., which is why Jack is there to take a look. The first thing they do, and I thought this was cute, was the fireplace where the owner says it's like a magical fireplace.
Yeah.
And she did once is, they just kind of put down all the things, the emotions and stuff that they wanted to get rid of. They wrote it on a piece of paper, crumpled it up and threw it in the fire. And magically, they felt better.
Power suggestion.
I was going to say it's very cathartic, and people tell you, psychologists tell you to do that kind of thing, maybe not necessarily with paper, but with whatever. Write it down, do something, acknowledge it, and then get rid of it, and you'll feel better. So whether it's a magical fireplace or not, I think if people need to do that, if they need a focal point, I think that's great.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's magical. I think it's just a fireplace.
Yes.
But, okay. I just know that I've seen lots of psychologists say that this is an appropriate thing to do. And even in the psychology classes I've taken, they say that it's a really cathartic thing to do. It's like taking a big dump and getting rid of that shit in your ass. It's gone.
Well,
Well, yeah.
thanks for the analogy.
Well, it's just in case people don't quite understand what cathartic means.
Okay.
Anyway, they do carry on now with the tour. And the first thing that, and even Jack says right off the bat, is the ambiance is kind of creepy. The hallways are narrow, they're sort of dimly lit, and they're long.
They look like the hallways in The Shining.
Yeah. I mean, the colors, they're sort of red and black and very dark with the lights on. Now, when they turn the lights off, it's even worse. So, I mean, right then and there, they're setting you up for imagery for thinking later on that, ooh, it's creepy and scary. Yeah. And I don't like it when they do that.
Yeah.
He just simply has to say, oh, it's a narrow, it's a darker, it's, he doesn't have to say this is creepy, because now your brain is already thinking it's creepy.
Yeah.
So I don't think that was appropriate to do. But again, it's television.
Yeah.
And let's see, they go on. I don't think there was a lot really to say on the second floor. There was a few things here and there, but mostly it was the third floor where all the stuff was. And when they went into room 307, immediately, now that's the one that I was telling you about where the prostitute died, the EMF detector goes crazy. Jack very quickly says, is anybody using their walkie-talkie? Is anybody on walkie? Yeah. And I think that was a good thing to do because right away he's trying to debunk where that's coming from.
Yeah.
Is it coming from equipment? But nobody was on the walkie at that time. So could it have been the cameras setting it off? I suppose that's possible.
Well,
it could also
he brought his camera up there.
Well, the cameraman I'm talking about, the cameramen were there. So I don't think so. I don't think it's a cameraman.
If it was a cameraman, it would have been going off all the time.
Yeah. But I mean, immediately as soon as they walked in the room, it was going crazy. So who knows why? But it's nice to see him try to debunk it. And what he knows is probably what would set it off, which are the walkie-talkies. So that was good because that's, walkie-talkies have different frequencies. They can set it off. Yeah. Cameras, I don't think I've ever really known them to set stuff like that off.
No.
I suppose it's possible, but I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the owners go away, and afterwards, Chip Coffey comes to do the psychic walkthrough. Now, he says the female spirit is drawn to Sharon. She's really drawn to Sharon, or they're a female spirit, I should say, because there's a few of them in the building. She's really drawn to Sharon's energy. She likes the way she's put together, why she stands like a lady. I'm thinking if she knew Sharon. Sharon ain't no lady. But she has got a very nice demeanor about her now that she's getting on in her years. And anyway, the spirit says, or Chip says that the spirit feels that she's a lady and it's something that she was never able to accomplish in life. And I thought, oh, that's so sad. Yeah. So she's very drawn to Sharon.
Right.
Then they get close to room 307 and Chip goes in and comes right out and almost immediately he says he doesn't like that room. He says it feels like someone was killed in that room. Yeah. And this is the room where the prostitute was beheaded. So he's right. And he's
bashed in. It wasn't her head bashed in.
Yes, she had her, and then she was beheaded.
Yeah.
But he said he felt like his head was getting bashed in.
Okay.
That's where you heard that part.
Okay.
And so Sharon asks Chip, and this is another thing of foreshadowing, or were they trying to set up the feeling of foreboding? I don't know which. But Sharon says, when people come here, do you think they're safe to come here? And Chip says, I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, this is for Hollywood, so or for entertainment purposes. So was that an honest question, or is she setting him up to say that so that creates that sense of something's bad? Because nothing bad has happened to people there.
No.
They've had feelings of creepiness and stuff, but nothing bad has happened to people.
Yeah.
So Chip leaves and they go down to the fireplace, that lovely fireplace, and they write down their intentions, I think they said, on a piece of paper. They throw it in the fire. Okay. Right. Let's see how this goes. And then they start a little EVP session with the REM pod and something else. I forget what else they used. So they're asking a couple of questions. Pardon?
Cat balls.
The cat balls. And Sharon wants the cat balls for her cats afterwards. That's right. She's so cute sometimes. Almost immediately, though, you hear Jack go, did you hear that? Which I know is your favorite.
Yeah, I just fucking hate that.
And then they show another camera, shows a door just down the hall opening. Just a little bit, just unlatching. Now, I was watching this and I didn't see any, any feet shadows or anything underneath the door because I was always checking that one out. and I didn't see anything. So it's possible it was real.
Yeah.
It's also possible it's created for television because it is too convenient.
Yeah.
Ask 2 questions and suddenly,
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're back to, they're still sitting. Oh, that was Pickles shaking his head.
Yeah.
They're still sitting in that little living room in front of the fireplace, and Jack says what he suspects is the domineering male energy that Chip says is there. He says, "Okay, then try to scare us. We're here." Is that a smart thing to do? Challenging spirits is never smart.
Never smart.
Whether it's demonic or not, you are setting yourself up for problems.
Yeah.
And problems they get.
Yeah.
I always say, don't do that. Don't try to scare me. Go ahead. I'm so brave. Yeah. Just wait for it. So Sharon, they decide they're going to do a couple of things. They're going to put Sharon in room 308 for a sensory deprivation thing. Kind of like the Estes method, but without somebody asking questions, right?
And I just don't know why he did that. It makes no sense to put your elderly mother in the room where...
Well, she did have a cameraman with her, so she wasn't completely alone. But he wanted to see if she could connect to that female spirit. That was the whole intention there.
Yeah.
I disagree with it, but that's us. Now, again, she wasn't completely alone, like in some of the other videos where they put their own camera in front of them and they're by themselves completely.
Yeah.
She had a cameraman there. She was not alone, thankfully. Right. So he takes off and is doing a sweep of the second floor. And he's gone for quite a while doing this sweep. And they flash back and forth between the two of them. And you see Sharon, she's got the noise canceling headphones on, the mask over her eyes. And she's talking, she's asking some questions. She's actually doing, good things there.
Did well.
Yeah, she's pretty good. And then she hears the REM pod go off, but she doesn't know what it's called. So she says, "I can hear that machine going off, but I don't know what it means." Okay. That I totally understand because she's not a ghost hunter. She's not a paranormal investigator. She's just, Jack's mom, knows a little bit of stuff, but not everything.
Yeah.
So then she's asking some questions. And then the REM pod goes off nonstop. It doesn't stop. And you see her tilt her head back and you think, oh, she's just kind of tuning into something. But no, she goes completely limp.
Wow.
Her arms, I know, her arms drop and she's just completely limp. And just before that, before her arms drop and she goes limp, you see this big breath.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Because later, well, we'll get to that. Later we find out that Chip felt that there were 2 spirits trying to channel through her. And maybe that's what was happening then when you saw that big breath was somebody going into her. And maybe they would have, opened their eyes and looked around and stuff if they'd been successful. But with the other spirit fighting for control, she was in trouble. So the cameraman there, he does call out. He says, "Sharon, are you okay?" Now, of course, she can't hear because she's got the noise canceling headphones on. So there's no response. He calls Jack and says, "Jack, your mom seems to be non-responsive. Something's going on here." And Jack basically goes running down, to the room. He takes off her headphones and her mask, calling out to her. She's not moving. And you can hear it in his voice. I don't think Jack's that good of an actor. You hear it in his voice, lights now. And he's obviously something is wrong. And the camera kind of steps back and you see him saying, "Look at me. Can you hear me? Can you see me?" And he picks her up off the chair. She's limp as can be. And you see a little flash of her face where she's just kind of got her mouth hanging open. And that's, to me, that's... I've seen people unconscious like that, and that looked pretty real to me.
Yeah.
So he lays her on the floor, talking, saying that he needs to keep her airway open. He obviously remembers his first aid training from when he was a cop. And
Right.
thankfully he had that information, because he says later on that he had to give her a couple of breaths because she actually stopped breathing. Now, they didn't show us any of this, which is
No.
good. I don't think they needed to. You could hear it in his voice, the panic as he's calling for help. Call for help, call for help. And then you hear him on the phone with the 911 operator giving her the information about her age and the condition she's in, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. That was a really dramatic moment.
Yeah.
And everything we'd heard previous from Chip, who actually had said, she was the one that the spirit was interested in. She was going to be like the magnet. Don't leave her alone.
Yeah.
And they forgot that part. Chip was right.
Yeah. Oh,
so the next thing you see is they flash 2 weeks ahead, and they're sitting talking, and they say that they took her to the hospital, the local hospital, who did multiple tests on her, and they couldn't find anything wrong. Yeah. Not a thing. So that's a good thing, but it leaves you wondering. Leaves you wondering what happened.
Well, you knew what happened. You said it yourself. It was a ghost.
Well, they didn't know that at the time, though. I'm just saying that was after it was all done, and they spoke to Chip, and Chip explained what he felt happened. And then they showed the video of that incident, because Sharon hadn't seen it at that point, to the owners, who were equally mortified. And Sharon said it didn't even feel like it was her body. She didn't feel like that was her. She didn't remember any of it. All she remembered was putting the headphones on. She didn't even remember asking the questions.
No.
That I found was interesting.
You wonder if one ghost was in her already, and when she took a deep breath, the other was trying to get into her.
Or leaving or something.
Or leaving. Yeah,
like you don't know. It could also be her body's way of protecting her from whatever memories were there. Just kind of, you go back, let's rewind a couple of seconds. Here we go. This is what you remember.
Yeah.
So, I found that really interesting.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
A lot, because of the drama and the excitement there.
Yeah.
I think it was very well done. It was better than the other ones, I thought, in the series.
Oh, yeah.
Simply because how do you top this?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it was good. All of it was good. But how do you top this?
Yeah.
I liked it. it. If you haven't seen it before, folks, you really do need to go and look at it. It is on Discovery Plus, and it's Jack Osborne's Night of Terror, episode 1. We'll link to it below. Really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Highly recommended.
It is very, very good. Recommended. Yeah. And also, we have some news. We do have some merchandise available now if you'd like to join our Boo Crew. There are mugs and buttons available. We'll also link to that below. It is on our Zazzle store, which you certainly are happy to have. I mean, they're really cute mugs, and the pins are cute too.
Yes.
And just a little light and fun, and it's our Boo Crew. And also it supports us. It supports us a little bit, being that we're still not allowed to get ads. We have no monetization at all anywhere yet. We're not big enough yet for that, so I got to figure it out other places. But the Boo Crew stuff is good, and we're going to continue to add more things there as time goes on. But right now we have coffee mugs, nice white ceramic. Well, they're not white anymore because they got stuff on them, and buttons that you can pin on that says you're part of the Boo Crew. Yeah. And that is it.
I said excellent.
Yes, excellent. And that is it for today. Happy
hunting.
Happy day, evening, night,
Yeah.
morning, wherever you are in this big wide world, because we are global.
Yes.
We have listeners
Yeah.
from everywhere. So yeah, absolutely have yourselves a great day.
Happy hunting.
Happy haunting. Bye now.
Bye.